Hey society, happy Sunday. I hope you're doing well wherever you are at. Let's see, we have 3 updates this week. The first, our loan forgiveness program. Second, we're going to talk a little bit about the Benjamin test we were doing. And third, we're doing a book. Let's talk some more about that and what's next. First things first, loan forgiveness, the big loan. What are we doing there? We are grinding through the legal process of buying and forgiving that loan. It's a little more complicated than just like writing a check and calling it done. Here's the tricky part. The Dead Ledger Society is not licensed to buy debt. Purchasing and servicing consumer debt requires state by state licensing and bonding and insurance. That's too expensive and time consuming for a part-time experiment. So we're partnering with established debt buyers who do this sort of thing for a living. But what's tricky about that? Well, first, these debt buyers, they want to stay anonymous. And understandably so. If you run a debt buying and servicing and collections business, you don't want your reputation to be one of someone who goes out and buys and forgives loans. These folks are doing it out of the goodness of their own heart. We're also giving them a little bit of a finder's fee. But they believe in the mission. They just can't have their name associated with it because it'll affect their business. The second thing that makes this tricky is that consumer debt information is sensitive. The industry and regulatory environment is understandably choked with legal scar tissue due to predatory lenders and debt collectors, and basically assholes ruin everything. Anyway, we are navigating how the Dead Ledger Society can work with a debt buyer to legally forgive a loan, contact the borrower, throw a party, and carry that relationship forward. Things are progressing. It's always slower than we hope. My desire, my dream, is that this first deal gets done in the first half of August. I don't expect it'll happen until the beginning of September, but a boy can dream. The good news about all of this is that this whole process gets easier and faster once we've established this legal framework, these agreements, and these relationships. And it's really important to me that we don't lose sight of the big picture. Like, we are legitimately on track to forgive $45,000 in student debt for about 10 cents on the dollar. That's fucking cool, man. Okay, that's update number 1. That's our big loan. Let's talk about the Benjamin experiment. So, to refresh your memory, the Benjamin experiment is where I pay $100 on people's loans. I just call their loan servicing company and say, hey, I am paying Jimmy's loan, putting $100 on Jimmy's loan. How does this work? How do I do this? How is it going to affect his balance? All that good stuff. It's my way of learning how the mechanics of these systems work. To date, we've made 2 payments, and we've had 2 different results, which is funny because both loans were federal student loans. Both were through the same program and had very similar payment histories. One ended up paying towards principal, which is awesome. The other went to interest. Have I mentioned how much I hate paying interest? That really chapped my hide, but reality checks are a part and parcel of experimentation. I did learn a couple of interesting things on my calls, which is the actual point of all of this. First, these frontline customer support reps are following a script, and that script does not include some random guy getting on the phone and offering to pay somebody else's loan. Apparently people don't do that. I guess I'm weird. They had a hard time verifying and giving me permission to make these payments, even though I had the borrower's names, I had the loan identification numbers, etc., etc. It was a process. I think if we're going to do something like this in bulk, we're going to need to do something other than talk with frontline support reps. That's expected. Nevertheless, moving on. Second, the reps could not articulate how the payments were going to be applied to the loans, whether it was going to go towards principal or interest. And I wasn't interested in figuring out how those individual loans, like how I was going to work with the individual loans, because I don't like I said, loan data and customer information is sensitive and I don't want to get too deep into it. But what surprised me is that the reps couldn't tell me how the companies they work for make the decisions about whether or not the money is going towards interest or principal. They referred me to their website. When I finally found them, it's like 8 different rules in legalese, and it's just kind of a mess. Like, that sucks. Like, no wonder people are surprised when their loan balances go up, even when they stay current on their payments. It's nuts. Is it too much to expect a $1.7 trillion industry to have its shit together when communicating and supporting its customers? I guess it is. I have $300 more to spend on Benjamin experiments. I would love to hear about your loan and see if I can make a payment on it. I've been working with federal loans. I would love to get a couple of private student loans. So if you have a private student loan that you'd like me to pay $100 toward, send me an email. Third item on the agenda. And this one's one I'm excited about this. I want to bring beauty and joy into the world. Nothing says beauty and joy like student debt. It's probably one of the driest and most horrible topics I can think of when it comes to the ideas of joy. However, I'm trying to figure out how to blend these two things. I was talking with my artist friend Tom, and we came up with a fun idea. Let's crowdfund an art book. We're going to give it a simple theme, and it's going to be fuck debt. Fuck debt. Spicy, confrontational, and a little bit personal. I mean, if you've ever muttered those words when paying your bills, you know what I'm talking about. You know what that feeling is. I'm looking for painters, illustrators, sculptors, photographers, videographers, musicians. If we can't print it, hey, we'll put a QR code in the book linking to your work. We'll figure out how to make it work. I'm talking with some wonderful people at Kickstarter next week to learn how this process works. Hopefully, they can connect us with more people who share this vision of debt relief through art. So it's an experiment. The worst case scenario is that some like-minded people join the society. That's awesome. More friends. Better for everyone. The best case scenario is we put out a banger of an art book and raise a grip of money to pay off some student loans. If you know anyone who feels inspired by this idea, this message, this fuck debt concept, get in touch. We'll figure out how to make something beautiful together. It'll be good. Also, tangent, we're prototyping merch. If you would like to adorn your body and the bodies of loved ones with a message of fuck debt, I'll leave a note in the description. All right. I think that's it for today. Thank you all for showing up, watching the video. Please like and subscribe. That matters a lot. And I will see you later.